Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 10 of the Anime Banter podcast with your hosts Turtle, Sean, and Mike. Thank you for joining us today. How are you guys doing?
Yeah, doing okay. You know, uh, got work. You know how it is.
Oh yeah, very happy to not be there, but very happy to be here talking about some anime.
It's always great talking about anime after work.
I'll take it.
Anything new and exciting going on with you guys?
Well, nothing new or exciting necessarily, but after work today, got some Crumbl Cookies, and no, this is not an ad for Crumbl Cookies. But I do want to say that the cookie I had was very, very good.
Those cookies are so damn delicious. What kind of cookie did you get?
I got a few different ones, but the one I ate today was like a peanut butter brownie
Oh, I want to try
cookie,
that one.
and I made a mistake. Their cookies, for those who don't know, are like they're pretty large and pretty dense. And I ate the whole cookie, and I kind of regret it because like I wasn't even that hungry, like 3/4 of the way in. But I was like, well, I'm 3/4 of the way in, I may as well finish it. That's a terrible mentality. if you if you feel full, just stop eating. You know.
It's like, well, I've come this far. What's one little bit more piece of cookie?
Might as
Ugh.
well finish it. Don't want it to go to
So
waste.
full. Oh, it won't go to waste. I'll eat it tomorrow.
Yeah, I've actually never had any, so I'll have to keep my eyes open for some.
Oh, they're so good. I had one the other day. They had an Oreo birthday cake one that was to die for.
It sounds good.
This is the hypnosis part of the Anime Banter podcast where like you're hungry. You're hungry. And we could
Eat
maybe I
food.
get my other microphone out and eat cookies in front of the microphone, do a little cookie eating ASMR for our listenership. Go find us on Instagram or Twitter or Reddit, and let us know if you want cookie eating ASMR to be a regular segment on the Anime Banter podcast. We're open to new ideas.
Do we want to include a warm glass of milk with that ASMR?
Oh yeah, sipping milk. That could go. That could go well.
I mean, if you're eating cookies, you better have some milk by you.
I didn't.
I was gonna say I feel like those cookies are so rich that you really don't need milk to go with them.
Yeah.
They make a. They're honestly like okay, like you need water. Like you're gonna eat one, you're gonna get thirsty.
They are thick.
Yep, with like multiple C's at the end. Thick.
I
But
have to keep my eyes open for these cookies. They sound really good.
now I'm gonna have to go pick up the peanut butter brownie one tomorrow or the next day.
They do them by the week, I think.
Shall we get into the anime instead of making people hungry?
Let's do it, because I'm getting hungry.
Yeah, yeah, it's a good idea.
Today, we are talking about episodes 5 and 6 of Trigun Stampede. Episode 5, Child of Blessing. The episode opens, we see a mother and a son praying while listening to a recording, and the child prays for the wind to blow soon. And then we see the car of Roberto, Meryl, Wolfwood, and Vash, and they have the same recording on. And Meryl's like, oh, like, what is this? Like, what are we listening to? And Roberto's like, oh, it's just some church nonsense. The recording we learn is done by the Church of Plant.
Interesting name for a church.
Yeah. Now, spoiler up ahead. They hadn't mentioned this church before now, right? So I was like, I don't know. This just kind of reeks of knives. He collects the plants, stuff like that. I was like, is this knives related? Because it wouldn't surprise me if it was knives related.
I mean, it still wouldn't surprise me if it was knives related. Seems like he has a very grand plan.
It's all about the plants because it looks like he's going around collecting them.
He's making that big ass garden.
But yeah, I just thought it was interesting. It's like, it was also like, oh yes, religious propaganda.
It's the only thing to listen to in the boonies.
So much could be said of that in today's world.
I mean, at least the recording that we hear, I was thinking it sounded a little cultish to me, not like your average, church broadcast. It sounded a little culty. This one.
I was gonna say, let me tell you how mad I was when I turned on this episode and they started with that horrible sounding recording and my TV volume was too high, so it's just like
Oh,
really loud, and they purposely made the recording sound so bad.
Yeah.
It's just like I was I was so mad.
this definitely had some cult appeal to it, and not the good kind of cult that you can make in Cult of the Lamb.
Or perhaps related to a blue oyster.
Ooh, I like that one.
I need more cowbell.
I got a fever.
I was gonna say, did the mother and son try hitting the cowbell when they were praying
Let's the it's the only prescription
to
to get
get
the
the
wind to
wind to
blow.
blow?
More cowbell. They should have known.
So they're driving in the desert, and Meryl's like, "Oh, what's going on with the sand?" And I lost it at Roberto's telling of that story about the color of the sand. Like at first, it's like, wait, did the religious recording hypnotize him? And he's like being all, "This is a recording. I have been consumed by the religion, the Church of Plant." And then he played it off so silly at the end. I'm like, that was freaking great, trying to like spook Meryl.
Yeah, I like this story about like the desert cryptid and stuff. It was pretty fun. I actually really like Roberto. He's not in the original series, but he's the one who kind of is. As our adventurers are going around, Roberto's the one who's telling us snippets about the world. So like the world building they're doing is often through Roberto's words.
That's a good point. I actually didn't think about that till now. He's like the aged veteran who's been around for a while, so he has the knowledge, and he's the one who's giving it to us.
And Meryl at the same time.
I didn't think of that either. But I really like Roberto. He's one of my favorite characters.
Yeah, he's really cool, and a great mustache.
So we again see the child from the beginning, and he asks about being sacrificed and why God eats the sacrificed children. It's like, damn, this shit got real dark real fast.
That is classic Trigun.
So Meryl, Bash, Roberto, Wolfwood drive up on a town, and they're like, man, it doesn't seem like anyone's been here for a while. And Bash gets out of the car, and he's looking around, and he sees something, and he goes and looks at it, and a giant ass Gatling gun dude pops out, starts shooting at Vash. And I have to ask, is Meryl deaf or just being dumb here? Like, Vash is getting shot at. She steps out into the line of fire, asking Vash, "Are you okay?" And Roberto's like, "Newbie, what are you doing? Get the fuck back in. You're getting shot at." She's like, "Oh, yeah, I didn't think about that." And then later, Roberto's like, "Oh, this guy knows Vash." And she's like, "How?" Meanwhile, the dude keeps yelling, "Vash! Vash the Stampede! Vash! Vash the Stampede!" It's like, how do you not hear this shit going on right now?
That's a really good question.
Oh,
I'm not really sure what's going on with Meryl in this episode.
it was like a couple episodes ago when Vash walked up and she's like, "Let the grown-ups talk," and we were like, that line kind of came out of nowhere and felt kind of out of place. So I'm like, who's writing Meryl's lines? Because they're not great.
There is a lot of inconsistency, it feels like, with her character.
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
It sucks because like it seemed like she was gonna be a really cool character at first. Like she was like very, in a way, goody two shoes, but like she knew what she wanted. Like she wanted to get the story, she wanted to like advance. She's like was very goal oriented, and just the way her dialogue has been written lately, it's like, oh,
in the four main characters we've been following right now, right? Like the four in the car, she's the one they've kind of made the least interesting out of all of them. So like the story revolves around Vash and Wolfwood, and we like Roberto's knowledge. But I guess maybe Meryl represents like us, like sitting along for the ride. Maybe we're supposed to kind of view ourselves from Meryl's lens. I don't know. I'm trying to like rationalize it because they just haven't given her much, and it's kind of sad. I'm hoping that that'll evolve as the series goes on.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, I'm fine with having the Avatar character be Meryl for us, but she's doing a lot of weird things and dumb things that don't really seem like her character from the earlier episodes. Like, yeah, she's curious, she wants to get the story, but walking into the line of fire when you can clearly like hear gunshots, there's no way she didn't hear gunshots. Like that just doesn't seem right. So I'm not sure what's going on with her.
Vash tells Meryl and Roberto to get inside, that the man is after him, Wolfwood shoots at the guy, and the dude just doesn't pay attention to the getting shot at all. This guy is strictly focused on Vash and no one else. And then I really like the transition they did of the kid running away from the church. I thought that was really cool. Just a really cool visual.
Yeah, this show has had a lot of really cool visual moments throughout the whole series so far. Studio Orange has really done a good job with this.
And I also love Wolfwood just has the best nicknames for Vash. Needle Noggin, Needle, Blondie, Dumbass. Like, I don't think he's ever called Vash Vash.
Probably not.
Yeah, I think in the original show he always calls him Needle Noggin, which makes me laugh. But the Blondie I thought was pretty fun too.
I also really liked how Wolfwood picked up that this isn't Vash's first visit to this village. Like, he's like, there's something going on. And then we find out that the mother and child from the beginning of the episode is actually all flashback. And I really liked how at the start of the episode it made it seem like this was parallel timelines, like this mother and child are in the same timeline as the four main characters. And then we find out, nope, this is all flashback. Vash actually met this child and saved him from running away from the church. And we learn that the child's name is Rollo and that he's sick. And Vash is like, I'll save you. If God won't save you, I'll save you. I'll bring medicine and you can count on that.
I thought it was really interesting having the flashback uh, be intertwined here because I did not realize that it was a flashback. But the biggest thing I got out of it was how old is Vash the Stampede?
That's a really good question.
He hasn't aged at all since that flashback.
No. And as we see later, even longer than that.
Yeah, I feel like the way this episode's told with the flashback, I think it's a pretty common use of flashback for like mystery stories. They'll kind of run these parallel timelines that you think, and then you find out that one of them was a flashback, and it's connected to the current timeline, and they'll tie it together. So I thought that was a really cool way of telling the story and linking these two, what we think are happening at the same time, where the little kid is actually the past, and the way they keep jumping back and forth from past to present, and then reveal toward the end of the episode that it is a past and present, not present and present.
So Rollo goes back to his mom, thinking, okay, Vash will save me, he'll protect me. We learn that Vash, by the time he returned, Rollo passed, and Wolfwood's like, made an unkeepable promise, I see. And Vash is just like, yeah. Like, Vash seems like very happy go lucky, like always trying to save people, but it seems like sometimes he overpromises.
Yeah, that's a really tough situation, and especially when he drops like, "If God won't help you, I'll save you." I'm like, "Oh, dude,
He's like, I'm replacing God.
that's reaching a bit much there, isn't it, buddy?" Like I get it, you want to help, and if I was in a situation like that, I'd want to help the kid too. But there's only so much one person can do. You're not going to be able to compete with God.
So we see that Rollo goes back to the church looking for his mom, and the doctor, that's the old man from the past couple episodes, is there. And Rollo asks the doctor if he's God, and the doctor says, "That's a good question, but God isn't here right now." And then Rollo is drugged, and we see the Vash-looking girl with the doctor. And Rollo asks if she's also a sacrifice, in which she replies, "She's an angel," and licks her lips when asked.
They did give it those little vampire fang looking things too.
Yep.
And creepy.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, she creeped me out here with that. I was like, this is not a normal kid.
That is true. That is very true.
I sort of felt that way though every time we have seen her on screen. Like, clearly there's something going on with this girl. We just don't know what the hell it is.
Does she have the does she kind of look similar to Vash and Knives? I'm trying to figure that out.
That's what I have thought since we've seen her. It felt like either she was a clone or like I don't know if she was a clone of the two of them or she was on the spaceship with them at the beginning and we just never saw her. But she looked very similar to the two of them when they were younger.
Yeah, she's got like the exact same haircut and everything. So I'm a little confused on who this girl is, but she's definitely creepy.
So we see the doctor gave Rollo a drug that aged him and healed all of his sickness and illnesses and healed his body that he ever had, and he grew tremendously in a very short time span. And with this drug, he turned into Gatling Gun Man, as I like to call him. And I really like the transition that they did of young Rollo to Machine Rollo. Like we see his youthful face, and then it's him behind the mask.
Yeah, again, the visuals. And there's some really cool visuals
A lot
in
of
this
very
whole
smart
show.
choices.
So we learn that Machine Rollo's been alive, or Machine Rollo, for about 6 months, longer than the doctor's other experiments. And Machine Rollo returns home, and he sees his mother, and it was very creepy how he was talking in child Rollo voice, but like a little sounding underwater. And when he sees his mother, he goes berserk.
I feel really bad for all the kids that the doctor has got his hands on and experimented on.
And based on the next episode as well, it's definitely more than a few.
Yeah. Another cool transition here. Like after we see Rollo going berserk in his house, we see Meryl and Roberto walk in, and they're like, "Man, this place is trashed." And we realize that it's Rollo's home, and Meryl picks a picture up, and it's of Vash holding a baby Rollo. So again, how old is Vash, and why does he not age?
He found the fountain of youth.
Because I mean, Rollo, when Vash found him and promised him that he would save him, he looked to be about anywhere from 10 to 12. Like it's hard to gauge for sure with animation, but like he seemed on the older side of being a kid. Definitely preteen, but older than 7 or 8.
Yeah, I was kind of guessing around 10 when I saw it. So
But yeah, over the course we show a course of a period of 10 years where Vash does not age, and then after that we can assume maybe 10 more years have passed potentially, and he still hasn't aged.
Yeah, I thought that was weird in the later episode where Roberto's like, "This guy hasn't aged in 20 years." It's like, how does Roberto know it's been 20 years unless there was like a date written on the back of the picture?
They didn't say there was.
they did
No,
not.
but I mean that's the only thing I can assume is to for him to know that it's been 20 years.
It's good old Roberto with all the information.
It's all those years of being a journalist.
He could just tell.
It's like, ah, yes, this picture is using this ink from this year, and you can tell by the wear and tear that it is 20 years old. So Vash realizes that this is Rollo, and he's apologizing for not saving him, for not coming back, and we see Rollo's actual face in his helmet aged, and he still has that mark on his eye, and Vash feels terrible. Then we see Wolfwood drink from a vial, and he shoots a laser from his gun through Rollo's head, killing Rollo.
That was wild.
I was not expecting that.
Nope.
Yeah, Wolfwood's the kind of guy that if they're in danger, in order to save who he can save, he's not afraid to take a life.
And Vash is understandably pissed that Wolfwood shot and killed Rollo. Like, Vash keeps begging Rollo to stand up and to get up. And Wolfwood said he did it out of mercy because the Rollo in that machine was not the Rollo that Vash knew.
This is something that the original Trigun series touches on thematically, where Vash is the type of character who wants to save life, and Wolfwood's the type of character that, in order to save life, he will take someone else's, and they don't always see eye to eye. So it's this same kind of theme is coming back in this show, and it puts these two characters at odds.
I'm cool with it though. It's a very interesting dynamic.
We then see Zazie telling the doctor that Rollo is dead and that Wolfwood killed him. Zazie also makes mention that Wolfwood is one of the doctor's other creations, and the doctor says that wasn't Wolfwood, that was the Punisher.
The Marvel character?
That's what I was thinking. Frank Castle. Yeah.
So the gang is leaving town, and as they leave town, the wind starts to blow, and the village starts lighting back up for the first time in at least 10 years. And it was just cool. Like, I thought it was really cool how at the beginning of the episode, Rollo's like, I don't, like, please let the wind blow. I don't want to have to be the next sacrifice. And with Rollo's death, the wind starts blowing. It's like, oh, Rollo, you were supposed to be the sacrifice to save the town all along.
It's really kind of sad.
Yeah.
After everything they've been through, there's no one left in the village, and now the wind picks up.
I'm not gonna lie. This stuff gives me like that like '90s, early 2000s anime vibe. When you go through like your space western type of stuff. This gives off those space western vibes, like Cowboy Bebop and Outlaw Star. I kind of lump these three together a lot whenever I think about anime. There's like futuristic setting, um, you know, uh, and they do the space cowboy thing a little bit, but yeah, there was a lot of depression in those shows, uh,
Yeah, for sure.
but that's the vibe they want.
They hit it.
Yeah.
With that, episode 5 is over. Turtle and Sean, do you want to discuss how, if any way, that this episode compares to the original Trigun?
You want to go first, Sean, or
No, I don't remember this from the original.
okay?
I'm bad.
No, you're fine. As far as I can tell, the robot Rolo, I'll say, that character I believe is in the original show, but he is very, very, very different, and I don't think he's actually called Rolo. If I'm thinking of the right person, so um, it's design wise incredibly similar, but a little different. But character wise, it's totally different. Yeah, there's really not much else that I can compare. This is definitely kind of its own thing, but it's definitely taking the character and reworking it entirely to fit this show. But yeah, I think that's about it. I mean, I think this is the first time as well that like we see Vash and Wolfwood kind of butt heads on their ideology, and that's pretty common in the old show. So, besides those two elements, there isn't really any other comparison that I can think of.
Before we jump into the next episode, we have a new segment to bring you, and it's going to be my beer of the week. I've been realizing I've been drinking a craft beer while watching the episodes in advance of the podcast. I'm a real big craft beer nut. And I'm like, it'd be cool to share whatever beer I was drinking that week while watching the episodes. So with that, welcome to Mike's Beer of the Week. This week, my beer of the week is Shubrew Magic Mushroom. Shubrew is a brewery in Zelienople, Pennsylvania, and they're really cool because a lot of their beers have video game names to them. Magic Mushroom is a hazy IPA, which they call a pixelated IPA with Enigma and Vic secret hops. The first sip of the Magic Mushroom I had a real dank aftertaste, and it really caught me off guard. I wasn't a huge fan of the aftertaste at first. The more I drank it, the more I got used to it, and there was a fair amount of pine on the front end. The average Untapped rating, which for those who don't know is a way to check in and rate beers that you have, and the average rating of Untapped was 4.07. Me personally, I gave it a 3.5. I enjoyed it more after I got over the dank back end of the first sip, but between that dank back end to start and the pininess of it, I wasn't a huge fan. I'm not a huge fan of the super piney hops, so that's how I felt. If you've had this beer, let us know. Would love to talk beer with you guys. in the future. If you're on Untapped, let us know. I have over 4,000 distinct check-ins on Untapped. It'd be a cool way to keep in touch with you, the listeners. But yeah, that was my beer of the week. I hope everyone looks forward to this. If you like the segment, let us know. If you want to hear something else from the segment or something different, let us know. Either on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, email, whatever it might be. Episode 6, Once Upon a Time in Hopeland. The episode opens with Wolfwood chasing a man. The man is asking for mercy and shoots Wolfwood. And he's like, yeah, I got him. I got the Punisher. I got the Executioner. And we see Wolfwood drink a vial of liquid, much like he did in episode 5 before shooting Rollo. And when we see Wolfwood again, his eyes are red and he shoots the man.
And after that moment, you knew that this was the Wolfwood backstory episode.
They're like, how can we let you know that this is a Wolfwood episode? Ah, I know. Here you go. Wolfwood right off the get-go. And it feels like a lot of the episodes lately have been opening with Wolfwood since we've met him.
I mean, he is one of my favorite characters, so I'm all for more Wolfwood.
Yep, they're keeping the intrigue of Vash. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, give us more on Vash, but they're like, hold up, we gotta explain every character other than Vash first.
After the opening credits, we're back in the car with the gang, and I got a huge laugh of all of Roberto's cigarettes in the ashtray at the front of the car.
I didn't even catch that.
Like, it was overflowing with cigarettes.
Where's he keep buying all these?
That's
There's
a
a
good
lot of
question.
desert on this planet.
Must have stocked up before the journey.
Maybe there's some like natural cigarettes in the world that you just like take off a monster to smoke or something.
So take off the vine. Yep.
Just imagine like going into a convenience store and be like, "Hey, I need some cigarettes." Okay, yeah, that's one pack. Give me the rest.
I mean, between him and Wolfwood.
Right?
So Roberto tells Meryl they are leaving Vash and Wolfwood behind to ride the sand steamer, and they aren't going. And Meryl is not too pleased with that answer. Like, oh, there's so much more to the story. We can keep following them, and we can get more. We finally have dirt on Vash. Why would we not follow it? And Roberto tells Meryl, I'm out. No way in hell I'm following someone that looks the same for 20 years. That shit doesn't make sense. Meryl wants to stay, and Roberto calls Meryl a pain in the ass.
I mean, to be fair, I think for the last couple episodes, she is kind of a pain in the ass.
I really liked Wolfwood and Vash talking, and like Wolfwood telling Vash that I'm the cool big brother, and I'll bash the bully skulls when you refuse to do so.
That's their dynamic. They're butting heads again.
I'm glad that they've really taken to each other very quickly, but then again, they don't show how much time has passed in the car. These towns aren't right next to each other. They probably spend like a couple days in the car
That's probably
together
true.
to get to enjoy each other's company quickly.
I wouldn't mind a whole episode of them just in the car, telling stories, hanging out.
That's the filler episode. We learn stories about the characters, and we see Roberto and Wolfwood buying a bunch of cigarettes.
Do throw some flashbacks in there as they're telling stories. Like that could be a really fun episode.
I'd be down with it.
Vash and Wolfwood are still talking, and we see a gunman approaching and start shooting at the two of them. Wolfwood looks, and he sort of gets a, I know you, like, why? And then he's like, why now? And he calls the man Livio, which brought up the first of multiple flashbacks. Well, I guess technically the second of multiple flashbacks this episode. And we learned that Wolfwood and Livio were at the same orphanage growing up, and they became friends there. I really liked how this flashback played out because it played out like a silent movie. Like you had some music going in the background, but between scenes you would hear like you would get the little title card pop up with what one of the like what Wolfwood would be saying.
Once again, very cool animation. They changed it. It almost looked like a storybook, and I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I was going to say the art style is like a picture book that moves. And instead of hearing speech, we see text. So it was just like reading a visual novel that the characters got to move around on. I really really liked it. I thought it was cool.
So we're back to the present day, and Livio is shooting at Vash, and Wolfwood tells Livio to stop shooting, and that Vash isn't the one who hurt Livio. So I feel like from that we can assume that knives had something to do with Livio.
Oh, I would say yes.
Um,
Livio's like unresponsive. He's just shooting away.
And I can't remember if this took place before this next flashback or not, but I loved the scene of Roberto and Meryl driving, and Meryl was driving very recklessly at, to try and catch up to this steamer, and Roberto's like telling Meryl all types of stuff, and Meryl's just like, "Understood, sir," and he would say something else, "Understood, sir," and like I forget what he said to end that conversation, but I was waiting for Meryl to be like, "Understood, sir," and just like say it no matter what Roberto said.
Yeah, I like that scene. That was pretty funny.
that was good, yeah.
Like she was so in the zone. She's like, "I don't care about the consequences. I'm getting that story."
Well, and that's the part of Meryl from the original series that we kind of like. Well, in the original series, she was not a journalist. She did kind of dive into danger, kind of. She was like right in the forefront of all this stuff.
Yeah, that this particular scene I think is the closest that Meryl has been to the original show, character wise.
We get another flashback for Wolfwood, and we learn that he passed the selection test and is a child of blessing, which I thought that was an interesting nomenclature after that being the episode 5 title. And so all the kids are happy that Wolfwood got selected. They're smiling, they're clapping, they're woohooing. And the leader of the orphanage, she doesn't look too pleased that they're taking Wolfwood away. Like she in that scene, she's the only one with a frown on her face. And we learn that Wolfwood is test subject HL106 and has a chemical aptitude of S plus. And we don't know much about this chemical aptitude, but it kept getting brought up in the episode, like, oh, he has a chemical aptitude of S plus. Like, make sure you don't hurt this boy.
Yeah, S plus. In the Japanese system, I always get confused as a kid playing video games because in the school education system, A is the highest rank you can get, like in the American system. I mean, uh, and then you would play Japanese video games, and there was a rank higher than A, which was S. And to me, it didn't make any sense. I'm like, well, S is at the bottom of the alphabet. So like, why is that better than A? But you just learn to accept it. So obviously, S is the highest ranking this guy can get.
I wonder if there's like a reason for that. Like, why did they choose the letter S to be like the ultimate tier?
We would have to research that.
Maybe superior.
That could be. Like you said, Sean. It's interesting that they use A B C D E F and then like S is above A when that is like the bottom of the alphabet. So like, why did they decide to put that above A? So hey, if anybody knows, let us know because I'm just curious.
And while I might have been drinking some magic mushroom, I was not doing enough drugs for the animation that accompanied the test they were doing on Wolfwood during that flashback scene.
That was really trippy.
Yeah, like you said, it's a good thing to not be on hallucinogenics during that because it was very like it was like nightmare, nightmare, nightmare. Like it was so bad.
Yeah, that was really weird. You get all the colors, the images like morphing. It looked like some kind of caterpillar looking thing that was moving but not. And I was like, what am I watching?
And much like Rollo in episode 5, Wolfwood grows into an adult in only a few short months. And we see that Wolfwood tries to escape, and he's getting shot at, and the doctor's like, "Don't shoot him, he's S plus." And he's like, "I'm out of here." And he's so close to the window, and then his body just painfully contorts in all types of ways.
Yeah, that was pretty brutal. Not gonna lie, I was like, oh yeah, they really they got him.
Wolfwood is back in his cell, and he's like, "I'm getting out of here. I don't care." And he's visited by someone called Blue Summers, And Blue Summers tells Wolfwood that he is joining the Eye of Michael and that he will be eliminating all the abnormalities in Knives Way. And this, we saw while he was talking, a flashback to the man that Wolfwood shot to open this episode.
I freaked out a little bit here because I know Blue Summers from the original show. Yeah, I don't want to get into spoilers for that and how it might line up with this, but I freaked out a little bit when they revealed him.
So Blue Summers tells Wolfwood, like, hey, Livio volunteered to follow in your footsteps so you could join the Eye of Michael. That way we don't have to take any other children from the orphanage. He just will do it for, like, so the swap is a-okay. And Wolfwood is not pleased by this. He's like, no chance in hell. Like, Livio, go back. Don't do this. And then Blue Summer starts torturing Wolfwood. And Blue Summer seemed super powerful. Maybe not Knives level of power, but not far off from it.
It's his powers are definitely the scariest we have seen since Knives out of all the characters. It's just hard to believe that anyone else could take him out. I could see it maybe if you catch him by surprise, shooting him from really far away or something, but I don't know. Dude's OP.
Very OP. And it seems like his abilities are slightly different from the original show, and I would almost say more OP in here. So he's even scarier.
And we finally learn that the doctor's name is William, and Blue Summers calls him a priest. And William gets Blue Summers to stop torturing Wolfwood because he says he is an S plus, and Blue Summer's like, "Oh, sorry, I overstepped, my bad." So I'm glad we finally know the Doctor's name after what 4 episodes of seeing this character.
Yeah.
It's nice we're finally getting some information about these side characters that we saw a few episodes ago.
Dr. Billy.
Back to present day, Vash and Livio are still shooting at each other. Vash asks Wolfwood to help Livio, and Wolfwood says it's too late to save him. And I also loved Wolfwood's quote of, "I'm going to be real pissed if I had to kill one of you." And it's just like, it shows how important both of these characters are to Wolfwood. And then we see Zazie and Blue Summers watching Livio and Wolfwood, and Blue Summers is saying, "Oh, well, looks like Wolfwood's going to have a tough choice to make here. Either Livio dies and more kids from the orphanage will be used in tests, or I guess he thinks Vash dies." And Blue Summer says, "Oh, Wolfwood can't protect everyone."
Yeah, Blue Summers is really cold and he's scary.
Yeah, you can tell he really enjoys inflicting pain on others. Like like I don't know, like him, he likes torturing people mentally, physically. Like it's something he definitely enjoys.
We then see how powerful Blue Summers is, and the fact that he crashes the sand steamer. Like, he just reaches out and he blows the engine up, and the sand steamer is heading off course. And we learn that it's heading right towards the orphanage.
Won't someone think of the children?
What are the odds?
Yeah, they're definitely keeping the stakes high, I guess.
And not only that, the Bad Lads gang appear and they start hijacking the ship.
Yeah, I was like, what in the Mad Max is this?
I had some serious Mad Max Fury Road vibes from that gang.
Yeah, seriously, like I couldn't believe what I was seeing, but yeah, I mean, it fits this world pretty well, actually.
I was just waiting for a guy attached to a car playing a flaming guitar.
I mean, that too would fit.
And the episode ends with Blue Summers wondering who Wolfwood will kill and who he will save.
It's a lot of pressure.
You could say he has the whole world in his hands.
Oh.
With that, Turtle and Sean, do you want to discuss how, if any way, this episode compares to the original Trigun?
There are a series of, I think, 2, maybe 3 episodes that involve Vash and the gang traveling across the the desert on the sand steamer. So they brought that back. It is in fact hijacked by the Bad Lads gang, so they brought them back. Although in the original anime, at least so far anyway, in the original show, they had a leader. We've yet to see this leader character in this show, so I don't know if he will make a return or if the gang is on their own. We don't know. We haven't seen their leader character yet. As far as I know, Livio is original. He's not in the first Trigun anime. I don't recognize that character. And as I mentioned before, we got Blue Summers, which his full name is Legato Blue Summers, which I don't think they drop his first name in this show so far.
They
But
did not, yeah. Because they refer to him mostly, actually, in the old one as Legato, and not
yes,
Blue Summers at all. But here they call him Blue Summers.
which is interesting. I don't know if they did that intentionally to separate the shows or what, but yeah, his Legato's powers in the original show are creepy. Here he seems very OP. He can do a lot of stuff that he couldn't do. Like he was able to crash the stand steamer by grabbing it with the force and making it break. And I'm like, I don't think he could do that in the original show. So he's a little OP in here, and it makes him even scarier, at least to me.
Oh yeah,
Overall, thought these two were fine episodes. I really liked the usage of flashbacks in both of them, but we're halfway through and it feels like we haven't gained, like, it feels like a lot of world building and not a lot of. We know who the main baddie is. We know the main baddie is insanely powerful, but besides that, we really don't have much going on. Like, yes, episode 7 we'll be seeing the conclusion of the Sand Steamer. We'll learn more about Wolfwood and Livio and the orphanage. But it's like, all right, we're running out of episodes. Like, where like, are you squeezing that much into 6 episodes?
you have a funny feeling things are not going to get resolved by the end of 13 episodes.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that they have announced a season 2, so that's in the works, I believe. So it's not going to end, but I'm very curious to see where it goes. Personally, I thought episode 5 wasn't bad, but I thought it was a little slow to me. Um,
Same.
it didn't really hold my interest. Episode 6 is part one of a two-parter, so I was interested to see where this was going, and obviously it cuts halfway through, so we don't have the resolve or resolution, I should say. So I look forward to next week to see where this goes. Yeah, but episode 5 to me I thought was kind of meh, and episode 6 I thought was pretty good and it cut short. So can't wait to see the next one.
Sean, do you have any other thoughts on these episodes?
Yeah, for me, introducing Blue Summers and giving us Wolfwood backstory, it's been pretty good. Like this episode, the part one of the part two, so episode 5, not quite as good, but number 6, yeah, I do kind of want to know what the end game is here. Like I like okay, so Knives runs a cult that takes children and makes them super soldiers, and I'm like, to what end? Some explanation here would be very nice, as to like why. Got a lot of why questions and not a lot of answers, so I'm hoping part 2 here is going to answer that.
It feels like we have a lot of whys with Knives. Like, why did he wreck the ship? Why is he so obsessed with taking the plants back? And we know he's the main baddie, but we've only seen him in what, 2 episodes at most?
Yeah, I think that's right.
Yeah, then again, we've only watched 6, so because he's been in a third of the episodes, so it's not that bad.
That's true. I guess when we break things down in these small snippets, it's easy to put things under the microscope.
Yeah, because that's the thing, we're not binging the series, we're watching piece by piece. So may not have watched episodes 1 and 2 for well over 2 weeks here, and so it may feel longer ago than it should because we're not binging the series.
And with that, we come to our waifu of the week segment. Turtle, who do you pick this week and why?
This week I have to go with my good buddy Nicholas D. Wolfwood. I feel like both of these episodes are kind of about him. In episode 5, we don't get any flashback for him, but it shows his mindset in opposition to Vash, where Vash wants to save everyone, and Wolfwood, in order to save everyone, he's willing to take life if it's necessary. And obviously Vash does not want to take life at all. And then in episode 6, we actually get Wolfwood's backstory, which, as far as I know, we don't get any kind of backstory for him in the original anime. So it's kind of nice to see some backstory for him, what he's gone through. And it gives him that hardened edge, I think, as to why he's not afraid to take a life, because he's seen a lot of rough things. He's been through a lot of rough things, so he's not afraid to do that if it means it can save somebody else. So just, he's still one of my favorite characters. I always like when he's on screen, and I just feel like these 2 episodes were very much about him. So my pick, Nicholas D. Wolfwood.
Sean, who do you pick and why?
When there's trouble, you call NDW. Wait, no. When there's trouble, you call DW. I don't know. It was supposed to be a Darkwing Duck type of reference, but anyway, NDW, get it? Nicholas D. Wolfwood. It was bad. Anyway,
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah. It's Wolfwood. He's really the star of this episode, like of episode 6. Half of episode 5, he and Vash split who the star is. Next episode, Wolfwood's the star. You realize how much torture this guy has undergone, mentally and physically, and you're like, yeah, if you didn't like the guy before, maybe you like him a little more now, because you have a little more compassion for what he has gone through. But yeah, that's what we're going with.
And we're going to make it a clean sweep, because I am also picking Wolfwood. Pretty much for the reasons you guys said. These episodes were so heavily focused on him, it was hard not to pick him. But not only that, through all the flashbacks, we see he's always been a protector. Like, when Livio showed up to the orphanage and was having a hard time, Wolfwood went out of his way to try and connect with Livio. Like, he played that joke where it looked like he fell off the cliff, and he was just sort of sitting there, and he stuck his tongue out at Livio, and he would have Livio rest in his arms, and they would he was that big brother to Livio, where little brother was crying, okay, I'll get in bed and I'll calm him down. They were smoking together, and Wolfwood got Livio to smoke his first cigarette. And now we see, and as he said, he feels like the big brother to Vash, and he has to be the protector for Vash. There's a lot of big brother vibes going on with Wolfwood. I think that's something that really connects with the 3 of us, seeing that we're all a big brother to somebody.
It's true.
It's true. A podcast with 3 big brothers.
Maybe that's what we should have called the podcast, 3 Big Brothers. Just doesn't have the same ring.
Yeah, I like anime banter.
I do too. I take it back. Anime banter it is.
Thank you all for joining us this week as we watch Trigun Stampede. We hope you join us next week for episode 11 of the Anime Banter podcast, where we will watch episodes 7 and 8 of Trigun Stampede. Please give us a 5-star review on all platforms that allow reviews. Turtle, do you have anything you would like to plug?
As always, you can find me on my YouTube channel, RPG Treasure Trove. There I play couch co-op style RPG games with a friend. So if that's something you're interested in, please check us out. Like, subscribe to videos. I really appreciate it. And I hope you have a good time.
Sean, do you have anything you would like to plug?
Yeah, I'm always plugging the Demon Files podcast, as anyone who's been listening here knows, but I do want to give a shout out to my local anime convention, Techo in Pittsburgh. The Demon Files podcast will be there. I will be around at the Demon Files booth, and we're gonna give out some probably some flyers for the Anime Banter podcast as well. And yeah, we could chat some anime if people want to come by the booth. So that'll be July 20th through 23rd. I also volunteer for the organization, so I'm giving them a plug as well. Techo, July 20th through 23rd, Pittsburgh Convention Center.
The Anime Banter podcast can be found on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. Thank you all for joining, and we will talk to you next week.